Whoa, what is going on with my avatar? Oh my gosh, that is so strange. Okay, so, all right. Can everybody see the screen? Yes, excellent. Thanks, Russell. All right, so welcome everyone to tonight's Team Leader Workshop for our Power Up Cyber Games 2020-2021 season. We're excited that you guys have joined us and are going to be a part of the inaugural season. So go ahead and get started. Tonight on our agenda, we're going to talk a little bit about what the Power Up Cyber Games are, why you should participate. We're going to talk about team leader duties. We're going to go over a demo. We're going to talk about what a Navigator is. There will be a timeline and technical software requirements. We'll go over our competition topics, and then I'll go over some scoring and performance reports. And at the end will be all of my contact information, just in case you don't have it yet, so that you can get in touch with me if you need anything during the course of the season. So CyberUp's Power Games, or CyberUp's Power Up Cyber Games, is a monthly capture the flag competition for middle school and high school students that takes place during the school year. A CTF is a special kind of cybersecurity competition that's designed to challenge its participants to solve computer security problems and/or capture and defend computer systems. We give each team a consecutive 3-hour block of time to compete on a Thursday, a Friday, or a Saturday each month. The specific day and time within the competition block can be changed each month due to school schedules and team leader availability. The competition consists of a series of challenges that allow the students to demonstrate their ability to identify hackers from forensic data, pen test and audit vulnerable websites, recover from ransomware attacks, and more. Student players compete to build their skills through related curriculum learning, either in the classroom or from peer and self-taught methods. After each month's competition, students will know exactly what they got right and where they can improve. The top scoring teams and individuals will compete in the championship rounds, which will determine the first, second, and third place winners. So this is just a great way for teachers, parents, and students to learn cybersecurity skills, tools, and principles in a gamified environment. So why should you participate? For the students, they get to learn real-world cybersecurity skills through fun, hands-on challenges, and it allows them to master these cybersecurity skills by understanding their strengths and weaknesses from the monthly reports that are given to them, so they know exactly where they need to improve. It helps them build confidence by getting the experience of applying cybersecurity knowledge. And it also allows them to represent their school and help them get recognized as being one of the best in the nation. Because we do have teams competing from West Coast to East Coast, everywhere in between, probably I think 10 or 12 states now. And then the last thing that is for the students is it's fun. So it's a gamified way for the students to learn cybersecurity. And why participate for the schools? You can supplement your in-class learning through applied technical assessments. You can map your Power Up Cyber Games competition and learning materials for in-class CTE credits. You can help meet CAE requirements for student participation in cyber competitions. And then, really important, you encourage and foster student collaboration and team building. In cybersecurity, there is a lot of teamwork that has to be done. Yes, there are some lone wolves that just work on their own, but a lot of cybersecurity work is done in collaborative situations with teams. So the reason that we want the students to work in a team is to build that confidence and build that understanding of how do you work in a team effectively. But this is just to help prepare them for their future if they do happen to decide to go into cybersecurity, or even if they went into software engineering or computer science. Teamwork is really important in all of those areas as well. So what is a team leader? You guys are the team leaders. So you mentor student players on technical and non-technical cybersecurity skills. You promote power-up cyber games and encourage student players to register and participate in all the challenges. You field potential technical questions from student players within the rules of conduct guidelines. You ensure that student players follow the ethical behavior and rules of conduct guidelines. And you would act as the official representative for the student players if there is a dispute. It's highly unlikely there will be any kind of disputes. We didn't have anything like that in the pilot season. I'm not anticipating any in the inaugural season either. But if it does come up, you will be the mediator between Cyber Skyline, the gaming platform provider, and your students. So how else can the team leaders support their student players? You can, if possible, help them obtain access to facilities for the student players to use during the season. And we know it's a pandemic. Not everybody can be in the same room at the same time. We have to do the social distancing. So the system is set up to be used virtually. The students can meet through texting or through Google Meets or a Zoom session or however they like, and they can work together on their practices and they can work together on their competitions by doing so. The team leader can incorporate the power-up cyber games as part of their class. They plan and schedule practice times and topics, and they provide career advice and guidance for the students. So what resources do we offer to your team leader, to you as team leaders? We have a team leader guide, which if I haven't sent it to you already, I can send that to you, but most of you should have a copy of that. We also send out a newsletter at the beginning of every month, a newsletter at the beginning of every month that has up to a dozen links to educational resources on that month's topic. Each month is only one single topic in the realm of cybersecurity to make it easier for the students to really gain a good understanding and mastery of each topic. And then you also have access to what's called a team leader dashboard, which gives you all of the information on scoring and metrics and reporting and everything you need to know that your students are doing. All right, so now we're going to go to the demo. Stop sharing this one. Got to share a different one. Where did it go? All right, so it looks like I'm sharing the Cyber Skyline screen with everyone. I'm going to take that as a yes since nobody said no. All right, so this is the login screen. We think it looks really cool with this cyber city of the future. Gets the students excited to just log in. Once you log in, it's going to bring up information about the practice gymnasium here on the left-hand side. The practice gymnasium is where the students are going to spend most of their time learning all of the material and practicing the material so that they can gain the skills and knowledge they need to be successful. You can see here, it shows my total number of points, my accuracy rate, my completion rate, and then my last date of activity. And there's time versus points comparison chart. And this is to help the students. We've noticed that some students do better in the morning, some in the afternoon, some in the evening, some on the weekends. So that chart is there to help them figure out when they can perform at their best. Then also on the screen is a Cyber Skyline demo. The demo has a few modules in it, or several modules in it, that we'll look at real quick. And then we'll go into the practice gymnasium, which is where your students are going to spend most of their time. So if we look at the Cyber Skyline demo, Here on the left-hand side are all of your modules. Each module has a different number of challenges with a different number of questions, ranging from easy to hard. In the middle here is an awesome scorecard that tracks all of the different metrics, the points, the accuracy, the completion, and it even breaks down the completion rate for each module here down at the bottom. And then on the right-hand side is a performance index chart that plots out, the dots will move out on the chart as you progress through the modules. So since I haven't done any work in the demo, I've been focused on working in the practice gymnasium. There's no information contained here, but if your students were in here and they were doing stuff, then this all would reflect the work that they're doing, so they have a really good understanding of where they are at with their studies. So important things on here are a leaderboard and score report, which I'll get to in a minute. But I'm going to show you this cryptography challenge first, just to give you an idea of what these things look like. So this one is about number bases. The gaming provider has given us a huge amount of information about number bases and also some links down here at the bottom in case the students want to use conversion charts or conversion tools in order to convert these encrypted passwords into their plain text passwords. So you see on this screen, the three lines is a menu where you can jump between any questions in this section. So if you're bored with this one or you can't figure it out, the students can jump to the next question or move forward. They can go back and forth, however it works best for them. Then the question mark is for hints. There are no hints in the demo. There's no hints in the practice, but there are hints in some of the medium and some of the hard challenges for the competitions. If the students decide to redeem a hint, then they are going to get a few points taken off of the score for that particular question. So it does dock them a few points, but they get the question right. So it's a trade-off. This 20 attempts here is how many opportunities I have to input the correct answer into the password boxes. The clock is a history of all of the answers that have been entered in the order that they've been entered in and whether they were correct or incorrect. There's no information here, but when we get into the practice gymnasium where I've been fooling around a little bit, then you'll see the history and you'll understand that better. Then the chat bubble is to send in feedback. If the students think the challenge is too easy, just right, or too hard, they're welcome to send in some feedback to Cyber Skyline, which they'll take into account when they do their next upgrade or update. So that is what a basic cryptography exercise looks like. If we go back to the demo screen, then there's a leaderboard here that you can click on. The leaderboard has that timeline again, and it's reflecting some information because people have been playing. And then at the bottom is a ranking with points, accuracy, last submission, and completion rate all included so that the students have a really good understanding of what they're doing and what they may be missing. Then the score report is similar to that card that we saw earlier, but this gives you a lot more information. So for each module, you're going to have accuracy rate and a completion rate. Then you're going to be shown your place out of the total number. You're going to be shown your points out of the total number, your total accuracy rate, your total completion rate, how many attempts, how many you got correct, how many you had to skip, and how many hits you used. Then again, there's the comparative timeline to help the students maximize their time. Here's an accuracy versus points chart about their performance. And then here is a bar graph that's for score distribution. So if there were more players, then there would be other bars in these other sections showing the percentage of points scored. Then on all pages is a support. This is in case you have a problem. Like I had a problem the first day I logged in and it wouldn't take my timestamp answer for one of the questions that you're going to see in a minute. I sent this ticket in and they fixed it in about 15 minutes. So they stay on top of things. They want to make sure that the students don't get frustrated or intimidated or cry. That's the last thing that we want is students crying over this. We want them to think that it's fun and exciting and to enjoy it. So if we go back to the main screen, then we can enter into the practice gymnasium. The practice gymnasium has 10 different modules here on the left-hand side, 6 of which will be used for our competitions. And I do have that list available. You're welcome to email me if you want that list ahead of time. Then here in the middle, you can see my scorecard, and it's actually reflecting the work that I've done. So I haven't done a lot of work, but I've done a little bit. I've done about 1/3 of the open source intelligence and about 1/4 of the cryptography. And so my performance index chart is indicating that my dots have moved out a little bit towards completion. So if we look at an open source intelligence challenge or question, this is going to give you a picture of a lamb. The students have to download the picture of the lamb using this link, and then it's their job to answer these questions using the metadata that they extract from the properties of the picture. This is not the easiest question in the world for some people, and the answers have to be formatted in a certain way. So the gaming provider has actually provided a solution set here as well, so that the students can check themselves against the solutions to make sure they're entering in the right answers, because they have to be formatted a certain way. And if you don't format it the right way, it won't take your answer. There's not solution sets on every single question, but there are for a lot of them. And for anything that's complex or for anything that's confusing at all, there will be some sort of help like that. Again, on the left-hand side, you can jump between the questions. You can look at the history or the hints if there is a hint. There's the number of attempts. You can see the history now, so you can see how I entered in correct answers and then entered in some wrong ones, and that's when I sent in my support ticket and got it fixed. And then again, you have the chat bubble to give feedback on the challenge. So since I have completed all these questions, I can move on to the next challenge. This challenge is also considered easy. It's about domain name server, and it is the type of thing that the students can literally copy and paste this into a Google search bar and find the answers relatively easily by reading an article or two, or by just looking at Wikipedia. Sometimes they can find the answer. So this one doesn't have any help with it because it is that easy that you can just literally find these answers online pretty simply and quickly. So if we go back to the practice gymnasium, there's a leaderboard for the practice gymnasium. We'll go, yeah, there we go. So this is just showing me, but the cool thing with the leaderboard is you can actually jump between all the different modules. So you can look at your total score, or you can look at just cryptography. So that's the one that I've been working on, and open source intelligence. Those are the two that I've been working on. So they show some information. Log analysis doesn't show anything because I haven't done any work in that module yet. And then again, you have your score report. This score report is only for the practice gymnasium. It doesn't take into account the demo. But again, you have your accuracy and completion rates, all of your great metrics here to help the students. And then again, these great graphs that help them understand their performance and where they need to improve. So that is the basic demo. I'd love to show any more of that you guys are interested in. Feel free to chime in now if you want me to go back over a part of that, or if you want to look at another module or anything like that, please let me know. Okay, I take the silence as everyone in understanding. So thank you for that. Now we're going to share. Oh, why is it doing this?
Hey, Mike, there was a question in chat that popped up while you were changing things.
Do students currently have access to the platform with this from the emails they received? No. So in order to get the students access, we have to go through the whole registration process. And until that registration process is completed, nobody has access, not the teachers, not the students, nobody. All right, so this again. My computer is just not cooperating tonight. All right, well, what is a navigator is the next thing. So a navigator is an industry professional who volunteers their time with your team to help during your practices, not during the competitions, but during the practices. If you are interested in having a navigator, email that powerup@wecyberup.org email address, and we will work on getting you paired up with a navigator. Just so you know, they're not necessary for your students or yourself to be successful. In the pilot season, we assigned 2 navigators to every team, and none of the teams used them. Literally, none of the teams used them. So they were not necessary. The students were able to navigate the platform. They were able to figure out the questions. Anything they had problems with, they either emailed me or talked to their teacher about. So the navigator is not a necessary thing at all if you're not interested in it, but we do want to offer it just in case you are. So that powerup@wecyberup.org is the best email address to email me to get that set up. So the timeline here, this month we're preparing for the competition. Then in the middle of November will be the first one. Early December will be the second one. Middle of January will be the third one. Middle of February will be the fourth one. Fifth one, middle of March. Sixth one, middle of April. And then that will be the competition finals where we'll actually have our first, second, and third place teams with, we're going to give out digital badges for participation for everyone. And then we're also going to do digital badges for the first, second, and third place teams. And we're working on securing some funding so that we can have some sort of prize. We don't know what that looks like yet. We haven't gotten that far in the process with our funders, but we are trying to make a prize for the first, second, and third teams. Then in May of next year, as long as the pandemic has passed, we're going to invite everybody to come to St. Louis if they want and celebrate the inaugural season with us with a big pizza party at our office downtown St. Louis that has a big event center in it. So these are your technical software requirements. At minimum, this is a normal resolution for a laptop or a desktop, so you don't need to worry about that. You need to use a modern web browser. I would not recommend using Edge. Edge still has problems, but Chrome, Firefox, or Safari are fine. Internet Explorer is not supported. It cannot be used to access this gaming platform. But the cool thing about our challenges is that Chromebooks can be used to complete all of the challenges. So that does mean that we had to leave out a few topics because they cannot be done on a Chromebook, but we were able to include a great deal of tools, and they even included a Linux terminal for the Linux section. Linux is the operating system most commonly used by cybersecurity professionals. It's the operating system that Android is based on and iOS for Apple. They're both based on Linux. So it's a really important thing for students to learn eventually if they want to be in cybersecurity, but you can't use Linux on a Chromebook. So we had to kind of do just a trade-off there. So the Chromebooks are able to be used for all the challenges. Then a recommended resolution is 1920 by 1080. That is a more standard resolution for most computers. And then obviously, like I said, the latest version of a modern web browser is what you're going to need to be using. Then the competition topics. In November will be cryptography. Cryptography deals with coding, encryption, passwords, all sorts of different things where you're converting one set of text into another set of text and sending that over the internet so that it can be interpreted at the other end as its plain text. Then in open source intelligence will be December. Open source intelligence can be used for many, many, many things. What I personally use it for is to track people down. So some of you, I was able to track you down by using That's Them or True People Search or Rocket Reach that have tons, millions of different email addresses and addresses and phone numbers and all sorts of personal information about people that's publicly available on the internet. And it's called open source because it is open source. Anybody can access it. Then in January, we're going to do log analysis. So logs are really important in cybersecurity. Everything that happens during the course of a day in cybersecurity is logged. So every time a hacker tries to hack in, every time somebody logs in from their computer at their desk or at their home office or whatever, all that stuff is recorded in logs. And all of those things can be used to find bugs and to find malware and other viruses. Then in February, we're going to go over network traffic analysis. So this is just a little bit more specific form of log analysis, specifically dealing with the network. So any traffic that's passing through in and out of your router is going to be dealt with network traffic analysis. Then Linux is the one in March. And like I said, Linux is the operating system that is most popular and most often used for cybersecurity individuals. And there will be a built-in Linux terminal so that your students can get some experience with it. If your students have access to a regular computer, not a Chromebook, and they have the memory to download Linux, I would highly recommend that anybody that can do that and start messing around with it. It's a pretty complex system, but it can do so many amazing things. It just takes a long time to learn. So the more the students can do with it and learn from it, the better they're going to be in their future if they decide to go into cybersecurity. And then last in April, we're going to do software security. This is kind of a broad topic. This deals with web applications, with software, with different programs, all sorts of different stuff. So it's a much broader, wider topic, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult than the other ones. So scoring. So the way that we do the ranking is like, just normal ranking. So number 1 is, even though that's the lowest number, that is the top rank. And then, number 10 would be 10 spots below that. So it's kind of like golf and scoring, I guess. The lower your score, the better. And then in your ranking, there are 3 factors that contribute to that. That's the points that you've earned during the competition, the accuracy rate that the students had during the competition, and the time of last submission. So every once in a while, the students will be submitting answers in a very similar timing, and the student that submits that last submission first is the one that's going to get the most points for that question. I hope that makes sense. Then performance reports are what I showed you in the demo. They contain general info about the competition, so including what happened, how many players participated, and how the scoring worked. And both the team leader and the student have access to the performance reporting feature. So at any point during the competitions, you as a team leader can go in and look and see how all of your students are doing. And if you notice that one is struggling in a particular area, then you can pull that student aside and you can do some extra work with them and help them figure that section out so they can be better at it. Then the score report, like I showed you in the demo, has that comparative timeline to show you when points are scored, has a composite performance to chart your completion rate, and then has a score distribution bar graph at the bottom to show who's scoring how many points in the competition. So that is the presentation that I have for you folks today. My personal email is mike@wecyberup.org, but I prefer that you email the Power Up one in order for just to help me keep things straight. then my office line is there, and that actually will come to my cell phone. So if I don't happen to answer, just leave me a message and I'll get right back to you. And then the technical support for the gaming platform is contact@cyberskyline.com. So if you guys want to take a minute to write any of these down that you need to know, if you don't have them already, I'll give you a minute to do that. All right, so I think everybody probably had enough time to get that information written down or notated somewhere. And if not, you've got my email address. Just shoot me an email and I'll send it to you again. I don't mind at all. So thank you for joining me today for this presentation. Who has questions?
Hello, I have questions for you.
Okay.
So you can see me. My name's Dawn Dimitrov, and I am brand new into this. I think you've been speaking with Joe McGinnis at Collinsville High School.
Yes.
Okay. So I am, like I said, brand new. We're hoping to offer a cybersecurity class next year. So this just coming to me within the last couple of weeks. Am I able to kind of pick and choose just some students in my computer applications class to kind of run through this program with me this year? Is that?
Definitely. Okay. Yeah, definitely. Joe had said that he only had one participant.
Okay, maybe, I don't know. I'll have, but today, is it closed out today? Is that when it's?
No, nobody was able to get all the registration forms completed because teenagers are terrible about doing stuff like that. Okay. So we're just pushing the registration back. We're going to take teams for the next few weeks or month at least.
Okay.
Just to make sure that everybody that wants to play has the ability to do so.
Okay, perfect. Okay. And then with me having zero experience in cybersecurity, is I'm still a good candidate to kind of help the students through this by going through the modules with them. And okay.
Definitely. Perfect. So the whole system is set up for beginners.
Okay.
So you as a beginner are going to be coming into it just like our teachers in our pilot season.
Okay.
And the one thing that I do each month to help out is I send a monthly newsletter that has that month's topic, and then it has up to 10 or 12 website links that you will give to your students so that they can do self-study and self-learning. Okay. About 80% of the questions come directly from the practice gymnasium. The other 20% are going to come from those links that I send out to you that you disseminate out to your students. So it's going to take some they have to take some responsibility on their own in order to do this. So that's going to reduce the pressure on you in order so that you don't have to know everything. And I'm an email or a phone call away. Anytime you come across something that's confusing, just get in touch with me and we'll figure it out.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. How about anybody else? Any other questions?
I have one, Joan.
Okay. Yeah.
It sounds like, okay, so if you have 4 students that are competing, all 4 of them are submitting answers, and the one who submits it last is the one that you grade on or whatever.
So they can work as a team and submit one answer like at one computer, or they can all work at the same time and be submitting answers at the same time. It's really up to them how they want to work together.
Okay.
So Tracy says, my students are real anxious to get started. How soon? Yeah. So because of the registration problems, we're having to push that back. I can't send out the all of the registration information until I get back enough to supply to Cyber Skyline. That will only take a minimum amount of registrants at a time in order to make their upload and their registration process smooth and easy. So on Monday, I am submitting everything that I have so far. So Tracy, ideally, I will have a login and everything for you really soon, but I can't guarantee it. Cyber Skyline may want to wait until all the registrations are in before they give us the login credentials for the students. So I apologize on behalf of everybody else that's having trouble with our forms. You're welcome. Well, if nobody else has any questions, then I will let you guys. Yeah, Tracy, you're good. You're set. Thank you, Diana. Thank you for attending. I appreciate it. So thank you, everyone. I hope that you learned something and feel confident about the gaming platform and about what you're entering into with your students. And like I said, I'm an email or a phone call away, so don't hesitate to reach out. Can we get a copy of your slides? Yes, I will be happy to email you a copy of the slides as soon as we get off of this call. Great. All right, so everyone have a nice evening, and I look forward to our inaugural season. I'm super stoked. Tracy and Joan both want the slides. Okay, so Tracy and Joan want the slides. Very good. I'm going to stop recording now. And